there's no question that Ontario was hit hard with respect to the economic situation, and it required significant investment from the government. 93% of the jobs lost during the recession have been created and returned. My opponent was fundamentally opposed to the way the economic situation was handled by the Liberal government. The infrastructure buildings that you see around, the hospitals, the arenas, the paramedic stations, the health centers out in South Glengarry, they would not be here under a Conservative government. They were fundamentally opposed to that and even voted against it. We've cut business taxes, helping small and medium-sized business. Ontario is leading the way with respect to the economic situation. We're leading the way. We're still weathering the economic storm, and the message is to stay on track and to stay focused. The Ontario Green Energy Act is on the way to creating 50,000 jobs. We've already created 20,000 jobs. The Conservatives want to tear it up. I mean, when you talk about job creation, they want to tear that up. Ontario is leading the way. We have to stay on track.
When it comes to jobs, Tim Hudak PC government's goal is to make Ontario Canada's leader in private sector job creation, once again. We will create a climate that will let job creators, not the government, drive new job growth by being the best partner small businesses ever had. We will create a small business Bill of Rights that promises to make creation and expansion of their businesses easier and more affordable to accomplish. We will reduce red tape by 30%, giving them their choice over the mandatory smart meter energy pricing, reduce the business tax to 10%, and make Ontario's labour laws fairer for union members and for taxpayers. We will fix the apprenticeship program to supply Ontario with new tradespeople it needs and to fill today's void, which is forecast to grow as more of our baby boomers retire. So, Tim Hudak government stands for change. We need change in Ontario.
I think it's a truism that if you insist on doing the same thing over and over again, hoping to get a different result, that this is the definition of insanity. Now, both the parties who have been represented here at the table and who have discussed their plans for regenerating the economic health of the province are engaged in an aggressive program of tax cuts. In fact, my colleague to my left indicated that they were looking for a 10% tax rate for corporations. The fact is, at 14%, where we were in 2010, Ontario was competitive. We intend to keep that tax rate there. We intend to use the latitude that money will give us to reward the real job creators. What happened with the tax cuts, and what will continue to happen with tax cuts, is corporations simply enhance their own bottom line. They don't invest in innovation. They don't invest in retraining. They invest in their own stock market profile. This helps nobody. What we intend to do is target investments and actually reward job creators rather than bribe corporations and hope that they will somehow wave a magic wand and jobs will be created.
When my opponent talks about finding ways to create jobs and stimulate the economy, we're already doing that. We're already leading the way in that. They have a $14 billion hole in their platform. $14 billion. And what that leads to is cuts in the services that we enjoy. When they talk about eliminating the red tape, let me remind you about some of the red tape that they want to eliminate. If everybody remembers Walkerton, when they eliminated some of the red tape there, and people died from drinking the water, when they eliminated some of the red tape and the regulations with respect to the electricity, and you couldn't turn on a light switch in certain parts of the province.
Well, in Ontario, we're looking at over-regulation that's killing small businesses. And we talk about corporations, we're talking about small businesses. The vast majority of jobs will benefit from this tax rate. If we want people, entrepreneurs, to get involved with business, we have to make it attractive. We have to make it easy to get into the business. And right now in Ontario, under Tim Hudak government, we're promising to cut this red tape by 30%. And there's much regulation, there's necessary regulation, but there's much that's not required.
Well, I think, I don't think eliminating regulations is a way to prosperity in any sense. If you take some of the egregious examples of abuse that have happened where there hasn't been sufficient regulation, take for example QI Solutions, the organization that announced that it was going bankrupt and pulling out of Oshawa, Laval, and another Canadian city, bringing 2,000 jobs. They were going to move south to Tennessee. Well, as it turns out, they never filed for bankruptcy, so left their workers without any protection and any way to recoup their wages and any benefits that should have been accrued.
Oh, go ahead, Jim, go ahead.
I say, let's be clear, we're not talking about eliminating all regulation, we're talking about the unnecessary paperwork that businesses are forced to get involved with. And let's talk about Walker. The Conservative government didn't eliminate the regulation there, they were ramping it up. But sure, there was a problem there with a couple of people that got around the system. So let's move ahead, let's not kill, we're killing rural Ontario now. We're making it so if you don't have pipe water and sewer, you can't operate a business. And it's time the government let people look after themselves.
If you strip the infrastructure to the extent that you can't regulate and maintain safety across the province, it's facetious of you to try to blame this on two employees maybe who had a little bit too much to drink at the beginning of a shift instead of the end of a shift or whatever. The fact is that Ontario was devastated by the tax cuts that stripped the provincial treasury, left it without the resources it needed to maintain health and safety standards, and privatized a service, that is the regulation of Ontario's water, that should be left in the public hands.
A $14 billion hole in their platform. When they talk about cuts and eliminating the red tape, they closed hospitals. They laid off nurses. They laid off meat inspectors. There was a time in the province, I think they were down to like 7 meat inspectors in the province. When they talk about a $14 billion hole in the platform, when they talk about eliminating the bureaucracy and the red tape, make no mistake about it, that's what they're talking about. Laying off nurses.
Let's be clear. We have priced our plan out, and if the only mistake we made, we followed the Liberal projections on funding that they have available to us. We followed that, and there's a 2% shortfall, and we feel that after a 77% increase in program spending, we can find 2%.
It's not the only place. It's not the only place they followed the Liberal.
I mean, those projections are taken from their numbers.
Did I hear a 77% increase in program spending
over the last 8 years?
This is incomprehensible when you think of all that has been taken out of the province in terms of tax cuts that your party would simply perpetrate if you were to be elected.
They've already talked about attacking firefighters, police, nurses, our education system. We're ranked 5th in the world.
Okay, that's time, folks, on this question. Thank you.